I'm shocked by this news. So let me set the stage for you guys. I'm at PT, I'm rehabbing my knee, doing my dry needling, my squats, my lifting, all this stuff. And I get an ESPN notification come across my phone that says Neko Gumake becomes the first player known to join.
Okay, guys, this is wild. Honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I was literally at physical therapy, right? Doing all the usual stuff, dry needling, squats, the whole 9 yards, rehabbing my knee. Then an ESPN notification pops up on my phone. Nneka Ogwumike becomes the first player to join a league that will rival the WNBA.
Rival the WNBA. It's a 5v5 league. It is backed by Saudi Arabian money. So essentially a lot of money is backing this league. It's in Europe and Asia. The games will be played overseas for 14 weeks and they want 66 players. And the very first one to be announced is Nneka.
A league to rival the WNBA, get this. It's a 5-on-5 league, but here's the kicker. It's backed by Saudi Arabian money. Like serious money. They're planning to play games overseas, run a 14-week season, and sign 66 players. And Nneka is the first one announced. Wild, right?
Said in an interview with the Associated Press, she said that the compensation package was key to her signing with Project B. She said it's not something that's usually offered to us, and by us, I mean women athletes. So for there to be an entry level of equity across the board.
So Nneka gave an interview to the Associated Press, and she said something that really stood out to me. She said the compensation package was the key.
But they have promoted themselves as a league that wants to rival the WNBA. When Unrivaled was coming out with their league, they always said that they don't want it to compete with the WNBA. It is something that's completely different. It's 3v3. It's all of these things. That was that. And the WNBA still doesn't like that. Okay. Do you think for 1 second that the WNBA and
Now, there are other off-season leagues out there, Unrivaled, for example. But Unrivaled has always been very clear that they don't want to compete with the WNBA. They've positioned themselves as something totally different. 3-on-3, different rules, a different vibe. The WNBA still isn't a fan of it, which is fair, but this Project B league is straight up saying they want to rival the WNBA.
Saudi money, no other league is going to be able to compete, even the WNBA. No other league is going to be able to compete with the amount of money that they will pay players. And the thing is, they will pay these players and they don't care if the league ever profits. They don't care if people watch. They don't care if people tune in. They don't care if there's butts in seats. They're going to.
And here's the thing with all that Saudi money behind it. Do you really think any other league is going to be able to compete? Even the WNBA? I just don't see it. They'll be able to pay players amounts that no one else can even come close to. And honestly, it sounds like they don't even care if the league makes a profit. They don't care if people watch, if anyone tunes in, or if there are even fans in the seats. They're just going to pay and pay big.
Project B, which intends to stream its games, will see players competing on a traveling circuit just like golf, tennis, and auto racing. I'm sorry, this is just crazy. Like, we haven't seen anything like this in professional sports, okay? We truly haven't. We want premier cities, and our goal is to create an F1 style team.
Apparently, Project B is planning to stream its games and have players compete on a traveling circuit, similar to golf, tennis, or auto racing. I'm sorry, what? This is insane. We've never seen anything like this in professional team sports before. They want to host games in premier global cities, and their goal is to create an F1-style team model.
Way in hell that they can keep that momentum going to a different league, especially a league that is going to be overseas. Yes, you might get some global basketball fans involved, but I personally just don't see it. And so I don't blame the players for taking the money, but if anybody thinks that this league is just going to immediately rival the WNBA and put up crazy, like I said, the results of this league don't matter. So I don't know how this affects the WNBA.
But do I think they can keep that same momentum in a completely different league, especially one based overseas? I'm not so sure. Maybe they'll pull in some global basketball fans, but personally, I just don't see it happening at the same level. And look, I don't blame the players for taking the money, who would? But if anyone really believes this league is going to instantly rival the WNBA and start putting up massive numbers right out of the gate, I just don't see it. Like I said, the actual success of the league doesn't even seem to matter to the people funding it.
It's those players who are coming in on hardship contracts. It's those players who want to stay in the States and their dream was to play for the WNBA. Like, those are the players who are most affected if the WNBA season stalls, if the WNBA season locks out. This Project B is talking about the top 66 players. I doubt that they care about some hardship player who's coming in and out.
So how does this affect the WNBA? I think the middle tier players are the ones who will feel the impact the most. The players on hardship contracts, the ones fighting for a spot, the ones whose dream has always been to stay in the US and play in the WNBA, they're the most vulnerable here. Project B is talking about targeting the top 66 players. And let's be honest, I highly doubt they're concerned about the hardship players who are constantly moving in and out of the league.
Promotes their league as the rival league to the WNBA. And again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It could be getting so bad that NECA's like, you know what? Everybody else at this table, all of these women that I have been fighting for, everyone else at this table is signed with somebody else. Why can't I? Why can't I take a bigger paycheck?
I just can't get over the fact that this league is promoting itself as a rival to the WNBA. And again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but things might be getting so bad that NECA finally said, you know what? Everyone else at this table, all these women I've been fighting for, they're all signing somewhere else. So why can't I? Why can't I take the bigger paycheck?
Now, all of these players have equity and stake in these other leagues. And it's always been like this, and we've talked about it. I'm sorry if I'm rambling at this point, but I'm trying to wrap my mind around how any of this makes sense. Does this give them more leverage now? Does it make the conflict of interest worse? And my mind's kind of going to like, yeah, it makes it a bigger
I'm also really curious about the conflict of interest aspect, because a lot of these players now have equity and ownership stakes in other leagues, and this isn't new. We've talked about it before. Sorry if I'm rambling, but I'm genuinely trying to wrap my head around how any of this makes sense. Does this give players more leverage now, or does it make the conflict of interest even worse? Yeah, in my mind, it makes it bigger.
Interested to know who those other players are. I would be very interested to know if Angel and Sabrina are one of those two players because they chose not to play in Unrivaled.
Honestly, I would be very interested to know which other players Project B is targeting. I'm especially curious if Angel Reese and Sabrina Ionescu are among those players, especially since they chose not to play in Unrivaled. Just something to think about.